Psychological contrasts. The poor child versus the privileged child. The poor child learns patience. The rich child learns convenience. One knows the value of waiting, the other the power of asking. The poor child counts coins. The rich one counts opportunities. Scarcity teaches creativity. Comfort teaches expectation. The poor child's toy is imagination. The rich child's is technology. One plays with dust, the other with design. The poor child dreams of survival. The rich child dreams of success. One is raised by struggle, the other by structure. The poor child walks miles to school. The rich one is driven there. One learns endurance before ambition. The poor child's first lesson is hunger. The rich child's is choice. One learns to repair. The other learns to replace. The poor child grows wisdom early. Struggle is the best tutor. The rich child grows curiosity early. Comfort allows exploration. One hides pain. The other questions it. The poor child fears tomorrow. The rich child plans for it. One learns empathy through struggle. The other learns confidence through stability. The poor child prays. The rich child expects. One values silence. The other values attention. The poor child saves everything, even emotions. The rich child spends freely, even feelings. One grows up too fast. The other has time to be young. The poor child measures joy by small victories. The rich child seeks bigger highs. One fears losing, the other fears missing out. The poor child's friends are survival partners. The rich child's are social mirrors. One learns humility through necessity, the other through guidance. The poor child's body remembers hunger. The rich one remembers comfort. One sees money as safety. The poor child hides their desires. The rich child explores them. One's scars are visible, the others are invisible. The poor child builds value, the rich child inherits it. One's success is rebellion, the other's is tradition. The poor child fights to be seen. The rich child is already expected. One studies survival, the other studies satisfaction. The poor child sees work as life. The rich one sees work as a path. One fears falling, the other trusts the safety net. The poor child learns gratitude by necessity. The rich child learns it by awareness. One has resilience in their DNA, the other has resources in their reach. The poor child's love language is sacrifice. The rich child's is expression. One becomes an adult early. The other takes time to discover adulthood. The poor child's eyes reflect hunger, the rich child's reflect curiosity. One dreams to escape, the other dreams to explore. The poor child grows into strength, the rich child grows into confidence. One carries silence as therapy, the other carries freedom as identity. And in the end, both grow into humans, shaped by what they didn't have. The child from a poor family grows up anchored in reality, while the privileged child grows up floating in potential. One learns to fight for what they want, the other learns to expect it. But both are victims of their conditioning, one of lack, the other of abundance. When they meet in adulthood, the poor child has grit and the rich one has access. Both admire each other. One envies freedom, the other envies resilience. True balance is when the wisdom of the poor child meets the confidence of the rich child. That's when human growth happens. When empathy meets privilege and reality meets opportunity. The child who grew up poor, the burden of survival, they mistake control for care. They love from fear, not freedom. Their homes often feel safe but emotionally cold. They suppress emotions because survival taught them to hide pain. They confuse discipline with dominance. They believe softness creates weakness. They overwork to feel worthy. They teach their kids to survive, not to dream. Their children grow up anxious, scared of losing what they never had to lose. They carry guilt when resting. Comfort feels undeserved. They don't know how to celebrate. Joy feels temporary. Their love becomes transactional. I worked hard for you, so you must respect me. They rarely apologize. Struggle made them proud and defensive. They fear vulnerability. It reminds them of being powerless. They're emotionally distant. Affection feels foreign. They overprotect, turning love into control. They often stay in toxic relationships. Stability feels safer than freedom. They struggle to trust happiness. They expect it to vanish. They view luxury as sin and poverty as virtue, extremes with no middle. They raise children who inherit their fear instead of their wisdom. Dark truth. They built a safe home but never learned to build a peaceful one. They escaped poverty but not the mindset that came with it. The child who grew up privileged, the curse of comfort. They mistake comfort for peace. They're emotionally expressive but lack resilience. They fear struggle because they've never faced it. They believe love must be expressed, not proven. They trust that tomorrow will take care of itself. Optimism is in their bones. They encourage their children to dream, not to prepare for disaster. They discuss feelings openly. Vulnerability isn't a threat, it's a bridge. They see failure as a teacher, not a curse. They don't fear losing everything because they've never truly lost. They give freedom early, sometimes too early. They believe happiness can be created, not chased. They don't fear losing everything, because they've never truly lost. They teach independence, but sometimes forget about gratitude. They buy experiences, not just possessions. They allow mistakes. Safety nets make them more forgiving. They raise emotionally expressive children, but not always resilient ones. They value mental health as part of wealth. They rest without guilt. They grew up believing rest is earned by existing, not struggling. They often underestimate struggle until life teaches it directly. And deep down, they love freely, because they've never had to love defensively. Psychological summary. When they grow up, both children build families shaped by their childhood fears and comforts. Psychological summary. The poor child grows up fearing loss. The privileged child grows up fearing discomfort. One is hardened by pain, the other softened by comfort. One's weakness is emotional repression, the other's is emotional fragility. One fears failure, the other fears effort. Both carry trauma, one from scarcity, one from excess. The poor child builds safety but forgets joy. The rich child builds happiness but forgets depth. Both live on opposite sides of the same imbalance. One trapped in survival, the other in comfort. No one chooses where they start. Some are born fighting to survive. Others are born learning to feel. But real growth begins when we stop judging where we came from and start building who we want to become. If that hit home, make sure you subscribe for more deep, thought-provoking videos like this one. And before you go, download your free printable planners using the first link in the description. Start organizing your life, your thoughts, and your peace. Because control begins with clarity. No matter where you started, whether you grew up with everything or with nothing, what truly defines you is what you build next. Growth begins when you stop blaming your past and start designing your future. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep, reality-based videos like this one, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next drop. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your perspective down in the comments. Every voice adds value to this conversation.